Manufacturing is probably one of the verticals where ERP makes most sense. And we publish the list of manufacturing ERP systems every year. So this particular video focuses on the list for 2024. So let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our #1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, enterprise technology selection, change management, as well as implementation. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be the top 10 manufacturing ERP systems in 2024. Just to compare and contrast this with 2023, we have had major changes on this list. One of the changes that you are going to notice is the Epicor Kinetic solution has experienced substantial increase in its ranking just because of the momentum in their portfolio, the technology advancements that they have done on the product, and the capabilities that they are able to build. We have seen some increase with the Acumatica as well as the Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O product as well. Some decrease we have seen with Infor CSI, Plex, as well as Sage X3. So we'll discuss in deep detail why we have changed the ranking and what are the issues that we are noticing in the market. Just to be clear, the criteria that we use to compile this list is going to be the product share, the acquisition strategy focused on this particular manufacturing ERP product, the product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as investors. So those are some of the factors that we utilize to compile our list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Plex. If you're not familiar with Plex, they target mid-sized automotive manufacturers, especially in Toyota as well as in Ford ecosystems. They are really strong there. They are going to have very deep last mile capabilities from the compliance perspective, from the quality perspective. Plex is also very MES first solution. They are going to have far deeper MES capabilities. Their ERP capabilities are not going to be as strong. They are not going to have as many layers for Plex. And this is why Plex makes most sense when you are looking for a platform at your subsidiary level. For example, let's say you are going to be either the holding companies or the private equity companies where you are trying to streamline your portfolio. So you might use a corporate ledger, for example, SAP or Oracle, and then Plex you might use at the plant level. So these Plex instances are probably not going to be connected. They may not talk to each other, but again, depending upon the strategy as well as the approach that you want to take for your portfolio companies, this we see very often with the private equity as well as companies that are going to be involved with M&A. They like this approach. So the pros for Plex is that you are going to get the last mile capabilities for the Toyota as well as Ford ecosystem. So your consulting effort is not going to be as high. Then it does take MES first approach. So this is probably going to be one of the strongest MES integrated solutions out there. Plex also is very unique in capturing some of the HCM centric workflows as part of the MES, because in some industries, the industries that Plex likes to target, for example, automotive, in those cases, you are going to have skill set as one of the factors that you need to utilize for your scheduling, quality, etc. And that's where those HCM processes become far more relevant in these spaces. So that's why Plex is a very, very different solution overall. The other advantages that we have with Plex is that it has cloud native UI. It started as cloud native platform comparable to some of the other cloud native platforms, whether you talk about Acumatica, NetSuite, Rootstock, all of those are going to provide you very cloud native mobile experience that you are not going to find with the other legacy solutions. Now, the cons for Plex is the core ERP capabilities, the layers that you are going to find with respect to your ERP capabilities are going to be limited. So if you care for your shop floor, for your MES, and you don't care as much for your core ERP inventory capabilities, then Plex might make more sense for you. Plex also has limited mixed mode manufacturing capabilities, even though each of the vendors in the market, they all are going to claim how deep they are with their mixed mode manufacturing capabilities. But for the most part, Plex is designed for these automotive centric verticals. So their data model, process models are going to be aligned there. And if you have very diversified manufacturing operations and need, then you might struggle with Plex. The other disadvantage that you have with Plex is that their ecosystem as well as the consulting base is going to be extremely limiting. So you are relying on Plex's professional services for the most part. If you don't like that, then you might not have much of the options in the market. So those are some of the cons, and that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is Sage X3. And in 2023, we had Plex on this particular spot. So some changes there. Overall, Sage X3 has seen some downgrade on our list, primarily because of the lack of momentum in their portfolio. We are hearing from Sage X3 partners that Sage is not as committed as they used to on Sage X3 portfolio. And that could be because they are not getting as many installs as they used to get in the past. For the most part, they are designed for the large process manufacturing companies up to $3 billion in revenue. And overall, Sage's market share is in that small to medium size business. That's where they have the large chunk of their market share. So they are more committed to those products that are going to be aligned with the needs of those accounting firms, as well as very small companies. That's where they really shine. So they are not as committed with the ERP products. And that's probably the reason why they are not continuing with some of the other larger products, which were really good overall from the manufacturing perspective, but they are not as committed to those products. For example, Sage 500 was a very strong product, but it has not received as much attention, as much R&D funds compared to some of the other products in their portfolio. So that raises the question of how committed they are going to be with Sage X3 even in the future. And that's why we are slightly doubtful overall on Sage X3. Now, the pros for Sage X3 is that the last mile functionality for process manufacturing. So Sage is really strong in the process manufacturing space. When you talk about the pharma, agriculture, food and beverage, that's where Sage X3 was always very strong. So you are going to get far more last mile capabilities, as well as Sage X3 was always strong with the finance capabilities as well. So if you have very specific audit requirements, that's when Sage X3 really shines. Sage X3 is also designed for the enterprise security perspective, really designed more from the accounting firm's perspective. So they are really strong in the accounting and finance workflows, but they are not going to be as strong with the operational workflows. Now, Sage X3 might make sense when you are looking at that corporate ledger, especially if you are going to be the upper mid-market company where you are looking for the solutions in the two-tier setting, where Sage X3 you might utilize as the financial ledger, but other operational solution you might utilize at the plant level, then Sage X3 might make more sense for you. The process manufacturing centric ecosystem as well as integrations. So the consulting companies that you are going to have in the Sage X3 space, as well as the integrations that you are going to find, they are going to be very compliant to your pharma-centric companies. For example, let's say if you require integration with your LIMS system, or if you require integration with your weighing scale in the food and beverage space for your catch weight scenarios, then Sage X3 is going to have far more exposure there, far more capabilities. Sage X3 is very, very, very strong with their ERP capabilities, especially if you're going to be a public organization and you need to compliance with Sarbanes-Oxley. So just like SAP, Sage is going to be very strong with their finance and accounting capabilities. Now, the cons with Sage X3 is that they are going to be limited in their MES capabilities. So let's say if shop floor is your focus, then Sage X3 might not be the best solution out there. Overall, for the discrete manufacturing verticals, you are not going to find Sage X3 does not have as vibrant ecosystem. And it is going to be too big for smaller companies just because of the number of layers that you are going to have in the solution. It is designed for those enterprise-centric companies and limited ecosystem for discrete manufacturing. So that's number 9. Number Number 8 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. And last year we had Sage X3 at number 8. So Oracle Cloud ERP is a very enterprise centric solution for large manufacturing companies when they are going to have 10 plus global locations, plus they are going to have $1 billion in revenue. Oracle Cloud ERP makes sense when you are going to have a lot of countries and your goal is to consolidate all of these entities as well as countries in one solution. Oracle Cloud ERP also shines when you are looking at that enterprise financial ledger, but you are going to utilize some other system at the plant level, just because you require far deeper finance capabilities at the corporate ledger, but your business model may be so diverse that you are not going to find just one solution. So rather than shoehorning yourself on one solution, you might build that two-tier architecture to provide the flexibility at the plant level. That's where Oracle Cloud ERP is really strong for manufacturers. The pros for Oracle Cloud ERP is robust finance capabilities for large global manufacturers, especially if they are going to have a lot of regulatory requirement. If you are going to be publicly traded company, you are involved with audits. That's when Oracle Cloud ERP is really strong. Proven solution with large workloads, enterprise workloads. So it has been installed in the Fortune 1000 companies. But again, the architecture that these companies are going to have is that they are going to utilize Oracle Cloud ERP only for the financial ledger. So it's not really apple to apple comparison whether they can really do the complex workloads from the MRP perspective. So when you are looking at any accounts comparable to your space, make sure you read between the lines. What was the scope of ERP? How deeply it was installed, and at what level it was installed inside the company? So these are some of the questions that you should be asking when you are checking references. The cons for Oracle Cloud ERP is that they are going to have limited last mile capabilities. So you will require far more consulting efforts to build all of these last mile capabilities, as well as the compliance capabilities that you are going to find out of the box with some of the other operational solution. Not necessarily manufacturing solution. For the most part, Oracle wins in the spaces where your telecom, media, energy, utility, construction, that's where Oracle Cloud ERP is really strong. They are not as strong with manufacturing. So you might see a lot of manufacturing logos in the Oracle Cloud spaces as well, but for the most part, they must have utilized this as the financial ledger. So again, it's not necessarily a manufacturing solution, and it might be overwhelming for SMB manufacturers. SMB manufacturers are likely to struggle with this platform just because of the IT expertise, the data modeling expertise that you are going to require to be successful with the Oracle Cloud ERP platform. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Acumatica. In 2023, we had Oracle Cloud ERP. So Acumatica has seen a little bit of boost, but Oracle Cloud ERP has been downgraded just a little bit on this year's list. It is ideal for manufacturers in that $10 to $100 million range. The 90% of the logos that you're going to see with Acumatica are probably going to be in that range. Now, sometimes you might see Acumatica's logos in that $1 billion space as well. But for the most part, the scope of ERP might not be as deep in those spaces, as well as the industry matters a lot. So again, look at the scope, look at how it was installed, how it is being used. Sometimes it is being used only at the subsidiary level, and they might have a very large logo. So that is not the indication that Acumatica has been proven or it is as successful with the enterprise workload. So again, 90%, 80% of the logos that they are going to have are going to be in that $10 to $100 million range, and that is their sweet spot. The pros for Acumatica is that whether you are going to have any sort of B2B, B2C centric manufacturing products, they are very well penetrated into the commerce centric verticals. So that's where Acumatica is really strong. The diverse capabilities to support the needs of multiple business models. When you are a manufacturer, you are going to have a little bit of construction layer, field service layers, as well as the distribution layers. That's where Acumatica really shines in keeping everything in one database. But keep in mind that when you are going to be slightly more global company and you are looking for global synergies across these entities, then Acumatica may not be as best fit. But if you are very North American centric company, or maybe let's say you are present in three or four different countries where Acumatica is really strong, then it might make sense to go for Acumatica. The other pros for Acumatica is the cloud native UI. So all of those mature cloud capabilities, such as your enterprise search mobility experience, is going to be very strong in general with Acumatica. And they also have flexible pricing options, but all of those flexible pricing options that they are offering are dependent upon their unlimited user or the consumption based pricing model. So do thorough research overall in terms of the pricing. Sometimes the Acumatica pricing could be very unpredictable in general based on our experience. So pay close attention to that. Now, the cons for Acumatica is that it has limited global capabilities. So either if you're looking for the global synergy shared service business model, Acumatica is not the right fit there. Acumatica as of today also has limited mobile reporting capabilities. So even though the experience is going to be cloud native, you are going to have mobile apps, but the capabilities, especially for manufacturers, are not going to have as many layers. For example, let's say if you are going to have scenarios such as you have simultaneous machines that you are trying to report, sometimes you might run into challenges with all of those complicated scenarios with respect to your mobile reporting. And then you are going to be using the UI, the desktop UI. Yes, you can use that on desktop, but overall, the mobile reporting capabilities are probably going to be limited. The multiple add-ons may be required for regulated industries as well as complex manufacturing. So even though you are going to be able to host a lot of different business models, but when you look at detailed capabilities, you will still require a lot of add-ons to be comparable this with some of the other stronger manufacturing solution. So that's number 7. Now, number 6 on our list is QAD. In 2023, we had SAP S/4HANA at this spot. So QAD is designed for mid to large automotive, electronics manufacturing, as well as life sciences. One of the biggest momentum that we have seen in the QAD's workflow is that, number one, it is owned by Thoma Bravo, which is a very long-term private equity. In general, they are going to be slightly more focused on the product as compared to other private equity companies. And it's right now in their second or third year. So that's a good sign that they have some more time to be able to improvise the product before they exit from that private equity. And based on their strategy, they have already announced that the product is going to be innovated. It's going to be far newer technology platform that we don't see with the other private equity owned companies. For example, let's say if you look at Aptine, ECI, Advantive, the approach that they have taken for these companies as they are only changing the marketing as well as the integration consolidation. But for the most part, the underlying product is going to be very similar. So that's a true differentiator with QAD. And that's why we are super bullish on QAD overall with respect to their capabilities. So the pros for them is going to be that they have global capabilities, especially when you are looking at those collaborative supply chains. For example, in the automotive space, that's when you need to collaborate with your vendors, and that's when your ERP with your supply chain integration matter a lot. In fact, the HCM processes are going to be embedded in these verticals as well. So it's a very tight collaboration, tight knit business processes. The way your PLMs are going to be very, very, very different. So again, that's where QAD is really strong. The last mile capabilities for several industries you are going to find inside QAD, especially for the industries where they are really strong. The cons for QAD is that it's not as diversified solution as some of the other solutions that we have on this list. Let's say if you are a holding company or the private equity company and you are trying to streamline your portfolio and you are looking for a solution that can be installed again and again in these manufacturing verticals, QAD might not be the best bet for you. QAD may be a better bet. Let's say if you're looking for slightly more operational solution and you are trying to utilize other bigger ERP system, SAP Oracle as the financial ledger, then QAD might make sense. QAD might also make sense in the cases where you are pure play mid-market company, you are not as involved with your M&A cycles, and you are confident, relatively confident that for the most part, your business model is going to be consistent, then you can host all of your global entities inside QAD. The other cons that you are going to see with QAD is it's not necessarily the global corporate solution. In that financial ledger scenario, it's not going to be as great fit, and the ecosystem is not going to be as strong as some of the other solutions on this list. So that's number 6. Now, number 5 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. In 2023, we had Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. It is ideal for manufacturing companies that are going to be over $1 billion in revenue with global operations. SAP S/4HANA is ideal fit for product companies that are trying to consolidate their manufacturing operations in one instance, and they want this one instance not in the two-tier scenario hosted as part of your SAP S4 HANA, where you are looking for operational synergies and not just financial synergies across these entities. That's where SAP S4 HANA is really strong with its HANA capabilities to be able to pull off the enterprise workloads. It is also going to be strong in scenarios where your product model is very complex. For example, when you are going to have very serialized SKUs, and those SKUs typically require far more heavy lifting overall from the database operations perspective. That's where SAP S/4HANA really shines. The pros for SAP S/4HANA is enterprise product designed for product-centric companies. You are also going to have a lot of best-of-breed options that are going to be pre-integrated with SAP S/4HANA. Those are all enterprise grade. For example, when you look at products such as SAP EWM or SAP Hybris or SAP SuccessFactors, all of those products are going to be pre-integrated that you can get from the same vendor. The other advantages that you're going to find with SAP is the ecosystem is very vibrant as well. So all of those enterprise grade best of breed solutions that you can find in the SAP ecosystem, they are likely to be pre-integrated with SAP S/4HANA. So that's where SAP S/4HANA's power is. The overall HANA is very, very, very strong for those enterprise level workloads. That's why in the enterprise spaces, you are probably going to find only two options. That is going to be either your Oracle or SAP. Especially SAP is going to be really strong for the manufacturing centric companies when you are looking at that global operational workload. That's where SAP S/4HANA really shines. The other advantages that you have with the SAP S/4HANA is financial governance as well as the transaction maps that are built as part of the product. And when you are looking at these global instances, the traceability is going to be super important. When you are looking at the regulated workflows, Sarbanes-Oxley compliance, that's where you require global traceability of the transactions that might not be available with any other products. So now the cons with SAP S/4HANA is they are slightly behind in cloud capabilities. The cloud capabilities are going to have deeper technical capabilities. For example, let's say if you look at the AI capabilities, they are going to be slightly stronger in the cloud instance. But if you look at the richer functional capabilities, SAP S/4HANA is not going to be as mature in cloud, at least as of today, than their on-prem variant. That might change in next 3, 4, 5 years, but as of today, they are not as strong. The SAP S/4HANA is also too big for smaller companies, even though SAP likes to push SAP S/4HANA even for these smaller companies. But the amount of layers that you are going to have with the product, that might be overwhelming, not just from the implementation change management perspective, but that might be overwhelming from the adoption perspective as well. So again, this is a very enterprise grade solution. That's where it really shines. So that's number 5. Now, number 4 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. Last year we had QAD at this particular spot. So Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is ideal for companies that are going to have diverse business model. It has very deep project-centric capabilities. It has very deep discrete as well as process manufacturing capabilities. So when you are looking for just one solution that can host all of your entities in one instance, in one database for that operational synergy perspective, that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is going to be really strong. It is also going to be globalized and localized in countries where you might not find some of the other solutions. You are going to have consulting base as well as ecosystem that you will find in a lot more countries that you might not find with some of the other specific solutions such as your QAD or N4. So now the pros for Microsoft Dynamics F&O is that product-centric solution ahead in the cloud. Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, the way their data model is designed, it can do a lot more heavy lifting overall from the product-centric company's perspective. It is also extremely strong from the service perspective, but it has one of the deepest capabilities in the cloud as of today compared to other enterprise grade solution. And that's why it makes it a great fit for upper mid-market companies trying to consolidate all of their entities in one solution, as well as trying to run those enterprise grade workloads as part of one solution. The best of breed products integrated at the database level. There are a lot of different ERP CRM systems out there. They are integrated only at the service layer level or from the UI perspective, but typically that poses a lot of challenges from the data integrity perspective. Here you have a lot of best of breed products, for example, CRM and field service. So if you really care for data integrity, especially if you're going to be slightly larger in size, then Microsoft products would make a far more sense for you. Their ecosystem as well as marketplace add-ons that you're going to find, it's one of the most vibrant. So if you're a private equity company or the holding company and trying to streamline your portfolio companies on one solution where you would like to host, let's say, majority of your instances on Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, but there might be a couple of businesses that might be slightly off. So for that, you will find several add-ons. In this particular case, you will not run out of option where you have to integrate this with completely different system or completely different database. So that's a huge plus for Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. Now, the cons for F&O is that they are probably not going to be as strong with their MES capabilities, even though you are going to find a lot of best of breed MES options in their community. And it is going to be too big for smaller companies. The number of layers that you are going to have with F&O, it's not fit for smaller companies that are going to be under 100 200 million dollar in revenue. It's not really designed for that. And the last mile capabilities that you might find with some of the other specific solutions might not be there with Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. So that's number 4. Now, number 3 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline. Last year, we had Epicor Kinetic at this spot. So Epicor Kinetic has seen some boost, and we have downgraded Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline just a little bit because of the challenges that we have seen with the product. For example, let's say you require flexibility overall from your BOM perspective, whether you have the formalized manufacturing processes or informalized manufacturing processes. It can handle both of them equally well. It also does well when you are going to have scenarios such as your field service processes that need to be tightly integrated with your production processes. All of these processes are inbuilt as part of the same product. Now, where it is going to struggle in the manufacturing situations, for example, let's say if you have engineer to order verticals, and in the engineer to order verticals, let's say if you have very WBS centric processes where you require a lot more capabilities from the project perspective in the architectural space and the construction space that are going to be manufacturing like, that's where Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is not as strong. The other places where you are going to struggle with Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is when you are going to have patches such as your metal or industries where you have complex inventory, and that complex inventory needs to be part of your MRP planning, etc. That's where Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is not as strong. The pros for Infor CSI is support for both informal and formal BOMs as well as engineering processes. Then you are going to have far deeper costing layers. It is really designed for companies that are going to be very, very, very deep into costing, or they require costing. The layers are far more scalable compared to some of the other solutions on this list. And if field service is going to be a primary business model for you, then Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is very, very, very strong there. The cons for this is the financial reporting experience is slightly more disconnected. So for example, if you go for some of the cloud native solutions, the financial reporting is going to be built as part of the solution. So you don't have to switch the interfaces. Infor Cloud Suite Industrial takes a very different approach for the financial reporting perspective. And sometimes that could be a very patchy experience for the users. The other challenges that you are going to face with Infor CSI is the user experience is not going to be as good, and you might face a steep learning curve. And the reason for that is even though they are positioning these products as cloud, but the mature cloud capabilities, for example, let's say if you look at enterprise search, or when you are looking at Salesforce like experience, when you can open multiple tabs and you can work in parallel, or when you are going to be moving from one channel to the next, from your web to your mobile, then your experience is not going to be as great, even though they might have some of the mobile apps, but those mobile apps are going to be very patchy in their experience. They are going to be designed for very specific use cases. So you are not going to find as seamless experience. Now, overall, their ecosystem is going to be weak, and the third party options are not going to be as prevalent that you are going to find with some of the other solutions. But having said that, Infor CSI is still a very strong manufacturing solution, and that's why it ranks at number 3 on our list. Now, number 2 on our list is Epicor Kinetic. Last year we had Infor CSI at this particular spot. So Epicor Kinetic is a very unique product, and it targets very specific verticals. It shines in those verticals. For example, when you are going to have verticals where you follow very formal manufacturing process, where the process is going to start from your revision number, that's when Epicor Kinetic really shines. In some industries, it is going to make far more sense for those engineers just because that's how their workflows are tailored. The other places where Epicor Kinetic is really strong is when you are going to have use cases where you don't necessarily want to create a product for your BOMs, and you still want to have that flexibility, or you don't want to have tight correlation between your subassembly as well as your operations. Also, when you are going to have complex inventory scenarios, such as you have a lot of attributes that go as part of your MRP planning as well as scheduling, those are some of the spaces where Epicor Kinetic is really, really strong. So the pros for Epicor Kinetic is going to be strong for companies with formal manufacturing processes as well as with complex inventory needs. The other plus we have for Epicor Kinetic is overall their technology, even though they were late in their cloud journey, but as of today, they have far stronger capabilities from the cloud perspective. Some of the mature capabilities, such as your enterprise search or the transactional maps, even though they are building those at this point of time, but you are going to find all of those capabilities with Epicor Kinetic that you are not going to find with other solutions on this list. The cons for Epicor Kinetic is it has limited layers overall from the global financial operations perspective. The number of layers that you are going to find when you look at global operations, where you are going to have the corporate entity, then you are going to have your local subsidiaries, then you are going to have your foreign subsidiaries, then you are going to have your entity, sites, plant. So all of these layers that you are going to find with the enterprise solutions, such as your SAP Oracle, those are going to be limited with Epicor because it is not designed for those enterprise workloads. It might be a great solution in the two-tier scenarios when you are looking for deeper operational capabilities, but it is not designed for those global operational capabilities. In that, you will require a lot of workarounds. For example, utilizing sub-accounts to be able to track that you are going to be needing these capabilities. Now, the other cons with Epicor Kinetic is it does not have embedded experience with the field service operations. They acquired a company and they are trying to integrate those field service capabilities as part of the solution. But again, that was the add-on, so you are not going to get as native experience overall from the field service perspective. At least in the short term, it's not proven yet. Once they spend a couple of years, then those capabilities are going to be far more proven overall from the tight integration perspective. So that's going to be another con. And then their ecosystem is not going to be as vibrant as Microsoft SAP Oracle. So you might not find as many options, best of breed options that you will find with the other solutions. So that's number 2. Now, number 1 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite LN or M3. And these are two different products, but the reason why we bundle them together is because they are targeting completely different market verticals, and the approach that Infor takes is very different compared to other products on this list. But for the most part, these are very strong solutions for those pure play manufacturing verticals. LN targets verticals such as your aerospace, automotive. M3 is going to be really strong in that apparel, chemicals space. So one of the unique advantages that you have with LN and M3, where even the strongest manufacturing solutions are going to struggle, is when these manufacturing business models are going to be slightly diverse. For example, let's say if you have a manufacturer that is also very projects centric, and they are going to have a little bit of flavors of construction, a little bit of flavors of distribution, that's when Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 will be able to accommodate all of those needs for the pure play manufacturer. But even then, they might not be the best fit. For example, let's say if you are a private equity company and you are looking to streamline all of your businesses under one solution, if you are a pure play manufacturing private equity company, then it might be a different case. Then it might still make sense. But if you are trying to combine other sectors, trying to diversify, and you are looking for slightly more flexible solution, that's when Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 might not make sense as the corporate solution. It might make sense from the two-tier perspective when you are trying to utilize SAP Oracle as the corporate solution, but then Infor Cloud Suite LN, M3 at the subsidiary level, or you are trying to streamline all of your or most of your subsidiaries on certain solutions, that's when it will make a lot more sense. But overall, from the global operations perspective, it is going to have far deeper capabilities than the other mid-market solution. For example, let's say if you look at trade compliance capabilities, that is going to be far stronger overall on the Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3. Last mile capabilities for the diversified manufacturing business models are going to be strong as well as the best of breed integrated solutions are going to be out of the box. So those are some of the pros. The cons that you are going to have is it's not really designed for those holding companies as well as private equity companies looking to streamline all of their entities under one solution, especially if they are going to be slightly more diverse in nature. The UI is going to be very similar and experience is going to be very similar as Infor CSI because it's the same stack. And the ecosystem and marketplace challenges are going to be very similar to Infor CSI as well. So that's it for this list. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include the link of an article that is going to have much deeper analysis. So you might want to check that. Also, if you prefer audio form, this podcast is also available on Spotify and Google. So you might want to check there and subscribe. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you might want to hit that below. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2024, you can either scan the QR code or hit the link in the description to check that out. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.